I'd like to call the meeting to order. Roll call of Aldermen.
Mr. Heisler. Here. Mr. Kinsella. Mrs. Holt.
Here.
Mrs. Schmidt.
Here.
Mr. Ridgewitz. Mr. Randall.
Here.
Mr. Anthony. Here. Mr. Davidson.
Here.
Mr. Silsby. Here. Mr. Hayden. Here. Mr. Seibert.
Here.
Mr. White.
Here.
Mr. Galletti. Mr. Musgrove.
Here.
Mr. Orlett. Here. Mrs. Schneider.
Here.
Alderman Kinsella and Alderman Galletti both called, asked to be excused because of family illness, and I told them we understood. At this time, I'd ask for roll call of department heads.
City Treasurer Dean Hart.
Here.
Police Chief Bill Clay. Fire Chief Tom Poor. City Attorney Garrett Horner. Ken Vaughn. Royce Carlisle. Jamie Matrit. Tim Gregowitz. Jim Schneider. Leander Spearman. Emily Foltz. Chuck Schaefer. Bob Sabo. Debbie Belleville.
Okay, Chuck Schaefer is excused. He got a grandson in the hospital. And Bill Clay's on vacation. Assistant Lieutenant Colonel Sparger's here in his place. Did I miss somebody else? Roger Barfield. Roger Barfield's here for Bob Sabo, who's on vacation. So I think we covered all the vacations. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I would like to ask you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go much further, I want to explain, as we do many meetings, but tonight, just moments ago, there was a warning put out by the National Weather Service that we are in a severe thunderstorm area. We will keep you posted. The police department's listening closely. If for some reason we felt the need to vacate this room, we would ask you to go quietly, follow the police department's leads down the hallway. Right across from the clerk's office is the stairs going downstairs into the basement area, which we believe is the safest place to be. We will direct you if that needs to happen. If there would be any reason to leave the building far as a fire ever or smoke, we would ask you to carefully and quietly leave the building out the front door, cross the street cautiously, and meet in front of the sign, the St. Clair County Courthouse sign in front of the courthouse, so that we can kind of check and see if all faces appear to be present. We don't have an exact head count in here, but we kind of know who we're sitting by and see if we can. So those are my comments about the disaster planning for this building. I would like to start off this evening and ask for a moment of silence after reading today and learning yesterday of the death of Senator Alan Dixon, a longtime senator from the state of Illinois and a Belleville person who gave many, many years of service in government, various walks of life and serving. And I would ask that we would pause for a moment of silence for Alan Dixon. I thank you for that very much. I'm going to ask if, for the sake of, because I think public participation this evening could take a little bit of time, I'm going to skip over for one of the presentations and ask that Mr. Brad Joseph would come forward, as we have a proclamation to share with him about the wonderful story that was in the paper recently about the 100-year anniversary of Oliver C. Joseph. Brad? I'll read this if you want to stand present, and you got a lot to be proud of. This proclamation comes from the City Council. Whereas founded in 1914 by Oliver C. Joseph Incorporated continues to be a family-owned and operated business. And whereas in 1914, 24-year-old Oliver C. Joseph, who was recently married at that time, applied for a Dodge Brothers motor car agency and was chosen from among 14,000 applicants. And whereas sometime around the Civil War, the previous dealership located on West Main Street in Belleville was built and then modified just after Oliver C. Joseph began selling his new Dodges. And whereas in 1948, a separate service department was added to the dealership. And whereas in 1958, Oliver D. Joseph succeeded his father the day Oliver Dees' son, Brad Joseph, was born. And whereas in 1976, the famous 1927 Pullman Railroad car arrived and was placed for many years right there on West A Street. And whereas in 1998, after the death of Oliver Kurt Joseph, general manager, and after years of working in many different positions in the dealership, Brad Joseph, Oliver Dees' younger son, began handling the day-to-day operations. And whereas on August 1st, 2006, a new era began when the opening of the new 6-acre, 25,000 square foot dealership facility on Highway 15 at Belleville Crossing near Frank Scott Parkway. And whereas Oliver C. Joseph legacy continues in the oldest continual operating Chrysler Corporation dealership in the world. And whereas Oliver C. Josephs had thrived due to the efforts of 3 generations of Joseph family dealers, their employees, and the support of the communities it serves. Now therefore, I, Mark W. Eckert, Mayor of the City of Belleville, do hereby recognize and congratulate Oliver C. Joseph for 100 years of uninterrupted service to Belleville through 3 generations of continuous family leadership, providing superior service to the customers. Brad, we're very, very proud to give you this small token of our appreciation. 100 years is a long time. It's particularly interesting that this year is the City of Belleville's 200th, and that the Oliver C. Joseph and his entire family have been in distinction of the only dealership to have family ownership for that entire 100 years. And we thank you. We wish you much more continued success. And we really, you know, I knew your father well. I knew your grandfather. And I was small, but I remember him well from church. And they both were outstanding men who left great footprints here in this city, involved not only in the business aspect, but in very much of the community in other aspects, dealing with helping build hospitals and YMCAs and all kinds of things. And we're very appreciative for what your family has done. I thank you.
I would just mention make a few remarks if I may. I'm very proud of the fact that there's a photograph at Memorial Hospital showing my father turning over the first spade of dirt. My grandfather was chairman of the drive to double the size of St. Elizabeth's. That was a few years previous. And I'm also very proud that when we moved to the new site on Highway 15, it was very important to me that every building we had was occupied, and there were more people working. Five different companies actually occupied that property. More people working there in downtown Belleville than I had employed at my dealership at that time. We've gone from 22 employees to right at 100 right now. And I'm very, very proud of the success we've had in the city of Belleville. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I appreciate you bearing with us, ladies and gentlemen, so that at this time, we're going to open public participation. But in an effort to, Carol Pointowski couldn't be here this evening. We taped a short presentation that might answer some questions, and then we'll open the discussion to everyone about the German Christmas market. And so I did take the distinction of saying we would play this first because it may satisfy some questions that some people have. They didn't see the presentation if they didn't get to the Belleville Main Street meeting where she presented. So at this time, Rich, I'm going to ask if we could, I guess is it best to dim the lights a little bit? Well, maybe hit some of the lights in that first bank there. Yeah, that up here would help, I think. Okay. Good. And we'll go ahead and play this. It's about 7 minutes, I think, but I think she did her best to cover this very well since she couldn't be here.
Good evening. I'm Carol Pinkowski, and I truly am sorry that I couldn't be here with you tonight. We have planned a family vacation, and unfortunately, we could not change our plans. I am, however, available by phone, and if you have any questions after the presentation or during any discussion, any one of the committee members would be able to call me. On behalf of the Belleville 200 Committee, we are proposing an open-air German Christmas market to be held in downtown Belleville during the time between Thanksgiving and December 23rd. My husband retired from the Air Force a few years ago, and of all the places that we've lived, we chose to retire in this area. More specifically, we wanted to retire and live in Belleville, Illinois. It's the place that we love. It's a place that we find fascinating with all of the events that are held. We truly enjoy the combination of what the city does, what the retail establishments have to offer, as well as all the dining experiences that we have in Belleville. We believe that by prior approval of things that the city has already committed to, such as all the festivals, the fairs, Art on the Square, 5Ks, the Tour de Belleville, the Chili Cook-Off, the new fountain, the new lights, everything that you have done already has put into place a terrific infrastructure to hold this open-air market right in the downtown area, more specifically on the walk. In German, it would be Walkplatzes that are held to the right and left of the fountain in front of 30 Public, the side of the Meredith home, and in front of Bank of America. As Belleville is steeped in German history, so too is the German Christmas market. It celebrates almost 700 years of tradition, culture, educational opportunities, and traditions which are still celebrated today in Germany, all through Europe, as well as many main cities in the United States. Under the 200 committee, our subcommittee that has looked into holding this market is comprised of retired military members, active duty military members, and German spouses of those military members. We have many other members of the local community who already volunteer on different events that are more than willing and very eager and anxious to help us. We have thoroughly researched these markets, and we know that we can bring a truly authentic German air to these markets. Myself, have been stationed in Germany with my husband for almost 7 years. I've been to the markets, so we know how important it is if we hold this market that it truly has to have that German flair that all the markets do. We have, again, as I said, we have researched this, so we really know what we are doing. We also know that Chicago, since 1996, is thought of as one of the biggest Christmas markets outside of Germany. Other cities that hold these markets are New York, New Baltimore, Maryland, Denver, Colorado, Pittsburgh. I've talked to a few of the organizers. I've talked to vendors that have vended at several of these markets and have comprised a list of information and data to help form this market in a professional and an authentic way. The nature of the market is really quite magical, and if you haven't been to Germany and seen and been to the markets, it's really hard to think, why would somebody want to come out in the winter and attend these markets and stroll around and shop? And I know there has been a question, why would people do this in the middle of winter? And the answer is they just do. It truly is magical. When you have something warm to drink, whether it's a ceramic mug of Glühwein, which is a spiced mulled wine, or a hot chocolate, maybe some authentic strudel from the Helmut Strudel Company, who has made strudel in the German, Austrian ways for hundreds of years, it is really quite something to be able to walk around and have that and then shop at different vendors. The market stalls that we are proposing are wood. They would be constructed in the authentic way that Germany and Austria holds these open-air markets. And again, we are looking at clustering them around on each side of the walkways and the fountains. In no way would traffic be obstructed, nor would the natural foot traffic be obstructed. We also believe that just as with all the festivals, the parades, the 5K runs, all the other things that Belleville has to offer, this is a unique and an excellent opportunity to bring newcomers, new shoppers, new visitors into Belleville, more specifically into the downtown area. In our research, one of the main tenets of retailing is the principle of a magnetism of a strong shopping destination proves to see a significant increase in retail activity. And that's why we believe that this opportunity of bringing the market will bring a big increase of new visitors to Belleville. Working closely with the Paderborn sister city and cross-marketing, and again, working very closely with the Main Street Merchant Association through Jerry and Daryl, we know that we can promote this in such a way that it will attract new visitors, new business, and new people to the experience of shopping in Belleville, and more specifically downtown Belleville. We will be offering items to sell, such as handmade lace that comes directly from Germany and is handmade in Germany, wooden nativities that are hand carved by an Austrian-born living currently in California, German cakes and cookies, glass ornaments that are hand blown in Austria and Egypt, and also something of a heraldry nature whereby he researches your last name, can print it out either on paper and frame it, or even put it on a beer stein. What we do not intend to have is anything that can already be purchased in downtown Belleville. We are looking to capture a new market of people to come to keep them from maybe going out to the mall to find that unique Christmas gift that they're trying to find. So again, as I said, working closely with the Chamber of Commerce through the promotions that they already do, through their promotions of Main Street Association, through the Shrine, where they have busloads of people that come through. We are hoping to capture those groups as well as churches, schools. We are looking into offering some kind of a field trip opportunity with wood carving demonstrations, authentic German tasting, and seeing what the whole experience of an authentic German Christmas market is. So by cross-marketing with all those different groups of people, we believe that will truly bring in new retail business to downtown Belleville. In addition to that, our vendors will be staying in the area, they will be shopping in the area, they will be eating in the area. The nature of the way the market is set up, and having talked to these vendors themselves who have years of experience in setting up this kind of environment, they're not looking to stay a half hour away, have to travel to come down here and open up their booths. They're not looking to go out to the mall. They also enjoy seeing what small towns across the United States have to offer, and they have told me that this is one of the things that they truly enjoy about their kind of business, is coming into different towns and seeing what there is available that they can't find in their hometown. In addition, the committee has decided and proposed that one of the house that we have, the market type chalets, will be for a nonprofit. And in this, we propose that groups of nonprofit organizations apply to use the house from anywhere from a day, a couple days, to maybe 4 days. And they could offer such services as gift wrapping, hot chocolate, popcorn, handmade Christmas ornaments. And we're looking at working closely with groups such as Hospice, Save, Scouting, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. And we know that the community of each one of those nonprofits will help come and support them. So again, that's another new type of customer that we're looking to attract to downtown Belleville. As I previously stated, we're also looking at offering field trips that would include wood carvers, maybe something to happen at the Lincoln, authentic taste of German food, and again, bringing in another group of people that may not know what Belleville currently has to offer. We currently have a pledge by Home Depot to help in the initial startup cost of this endeavor. We are also working closely with other community members, and we know that we can get the cost offset by a large majority of these community members. I hope that I have answered any questions that you may have, and I thank you for this time.
The one thing that Carol didn't touch on is that these chalets that they're talking about are 10 by 10 in size, and we've already had a preliminary commitment from the local carpenters local that they would build them for us as part of their apprenticeship program to help, that way there'd be no labor involved in building these, and they'd be built very well. And they could be taken apart and stored. So just to explain that that was one more thing. The other thing that she, I think, was just, and I'll open this up now, just maybe just a little bit light on is the committee, the 200th committee, and I sit on those meetings each week. There's a good look at how they were there. The 200th committee, though, had much discussion and listened to many that we believe that one of the biggest draws will be to really, I think, bring the military to downtown more than ever. They really have had good experiences over their visits to Europe and Germany, and they have all boasted about the unique specialness of these German Christmas markets. So with that, I appreciate your indulgence listening, but I thought that might answer some questions. At this time, I'll open up public participation for any topics this evening. And if you raise your hands, I'll call on you, come to the microphone, give your name and address, and we'll prepare to listen. Yes, sir.
Michael Hackberg, 701 Centerville Avenue. Over the past several months, I've raised questions pertaining to TIF 10. 6 weeks ago, the city attorney commented that a written response would be available in a few days. I have yet not received a copy of any such written response to my questions. I can say that I hope his written response is not based on his verbal comments of that evening. The city attorney commented that the April payment includes an advance payment due in October. Simple mathematics will show that the April payment is 70% of the prior year's tax collections. It is mathematically impossible that this amount be 70% of an uncollected amount that's collected between April and October. Because the October payment was not made until the following April, this year alone, the notes accrued an additional $20,000 of accrued interest. Mr. Horner's comments that the accrued interest is meaningless because based on the revenue generated at the current level of development, the notes will never be repaid before the TIF expires is unsettling. Unlike the current administration, I feel that over the next 22 years, there could be significant growth and investment in TIF 10. Even moderate growth could result in paying off these notes years before the TIF expires, at which time 100% of the TIF money will be available for infrastructure repair and development. The city attorney stated he is unaware of a missing page detailing how the taxpayers owe $8.9 million. He should have asked Jamie Matrix, the city's chief financial officer. In a FOIA, she has acknowledged that the missing page is missing, and it is still my belief that whomever created the payment schedules would have a copy of this missing page. My last question pertaining to the $824,000 paid in April of 2010 has been misunderstood. I am not claiming that the city failed to make the payment. The city indeed wrote a check to the investors, and the investors cashed it. What the city failed to do is deduct the $824,000 from the balance due on the notes. I am glad to see that this agenda item is on tonight's agenda, and would like it to remain on the agenda until these questions are answered. I hope this puts an end to the administration's tactics of delay, delay, delay. These are not overly complicated questions and should have been answered months ago. Also on tonight's agenda is addressing the sidewalk at 10 East Washington Street. This was brought to the city's attention over 2 years ago. For what seemed like a simple $2,600 fix, the city again opted to delay, delay, delay. Along with this remaining on the City Council agenda, I would also request that it be included on the Streets and Grades project list until such time as the city receives the nearly $15,000 being withheld by the state. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Kathleen Lindauer at 5600 Douglas Road, Belleville. I am the Belleville Tourism Director here, and my office is over at the Chamber of Commerce. I would like to speak on behalf of the German Christmas market. I get all the visitors' calls, and I take care of all the groups that are coming into Belleville. And the more we have to offer for Belleville, the better it is, and the more groups that I can obtain. However, the groups don't come to Belleville just for one thing. They'll come for a destination, and Belleville has proven itself as a destination. And I do set up all those itineraries for all the buses and the groups coming. So, for an example, if we do have the Christmas market, they'll be attending the Christmas market maybe for an hour, but they'll also be shopping downtown. They'll be going to our museums and out to Eckert's. Maybe they'll do the cathedral. We have the largest cathedral in the state of Illinois, one of the largest pick your own orchards in the United States. We have nearly 10 miles, one of the longest continuous main streets in the United States. So the groups that are coming and the visitors that are coming are not here just to do one thing, but the more we have to offer, the longer we'll keep them here. So I would be very pleased that our office would be able to help market promote or add that Christmas market onto any of our brochures that we have, because Belleville already has over 150 events a year. So we're very fortunate to have that. And just down at the Belclair Fairgrounds, they draw 1.5 million people. I had just talked with Al down there. The Shrine draws a little over 1.3 million. Belleville alone draws several million because it's all incorporated into our area. So the more we have, the more visitors we'll have. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Stuart Lannert, 318 South 29th Street, Belleville. I got this thing from Lindenwood, has been here since 2003. Now they're co-opting Belleville 200 celebration, and they're got their hand out all the time. They're trying to sell off bricks for $100. They're selling off anything that they can get a few bucks for. And here I am, a 1970 resident of Belleville since 1970, tax-paying voter since 1970, and these people at Lindenwood are trying to say that I'm not welcome, for instance, to this May 4th Belleville Philharmonic Concert and Tribute Center. They say I'll be arrested if I go there. I would like for somebody to tell me what high crimes I've done to be barred from Lindenwood for basically life, you know, that's what they say. And in 2000, yeah, they act like they're equal partners at Belleville's 200th party. They rehabbed 5 houses after forcing people out of their homes and used houses for less than a year. Now they are boarded up, and they probably got lead paint and asbestos in them. I hope we don't end up like we had on East Main for years. Leonard also gets $150,000 a year from the city of Belleville, and they have been getting $150,000 a year since 2003. Plus they get gobs of tax breaks and TIFs. And they're trying to say they're a private institution when they're getting gobs of taxpayers' money, and they're getting free advertisement from the News Democrat. The West End magazine was basically an advertisement so Lindenwood could palm it on up on any unsuspecting sucker to buy a brick for $100. That's the cheapest. I wonder how many hundreds of thousands Mark Kern paid him to get that thing paid, men's dormitory paid. I paid that so it could be named after his dad, and they're getting these parking lots named after some construction company people in Belleville, and some of them are in use in less than 6 months, and they're ripped up and used for another purpose. The woman's dorm was built on a brand new blacktop parking lot that wasn't more than a year and a half old. they'd have poor planning over there. And the men's,
Stuart, let's bring it to a close, please.
okay, well, the men's dormitory, or whatever you want to call it, was also built on a new parking lot that they ripped up after they've just paved it and forced this black church to move out. Thank you.
Okay. Who's next this evening? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Beth from Ben's in Belleville, Main Street. And several of us merchants do have a lot of concerns about the market, which we actually talked to Mr. White about, and Alderman White, and maybe he has a statement that is from some of us that maybe could be read and maybe could address some of the concerns. I also wanted to tell him I appreciate him coming down, asking all of us our views on it, because nobody else did. I got another phone call from another alderman, but from the city of Belleville, nobody came and talked to anybody on Main Street. I was out of town when the Main Street meeting was held, so I sent an email. My email went unanswered because Daryl was told not to answer it. So if you don't communicate with us, what are we supposed to do? So little upset about the lack of communication, and I would just like to ask that our questions be addressed. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else this evening? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Susie Ann Whitehead. I'm from 1924 Celebration. I live in Reunion Place and the townhomes at Reunion. And I am here for TIF 10, but not regarding, I hope that you figure out the accounting part of it. That's great, fantastic, figure it out. But this development, our whole neighborhood was developed as part of TIF 10, and one of the developers went bankrupt and left us with 74 undeveloped lots that the city has continued to mow once a month during mowing season, which is great for the neighborhood, but not really good for the tax base. So I hope that we can find some way to look to entice people to develop, to finish the neighborhood, to help the city, and of course to help Reunion, because we're about $300,000 in property taxes and $20,000 in fees to our neighborhood that we could really use to continue to maintain it. So that's what I'm here for. Hopefully the accounting works out. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Anyone else this evening? Hearing none, I'm going to close public. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Patty Law. I live at 221 East Main, and I also have a business downtown, a hair salon. I have a nephew who's been in Germany for 2 years. He presented me with this little present, real different little thing, over Christmas. Told me he bought it at a stall in Germany. I said, I don't understand. And he said, well, they're outdoor stalls. That's all I can tell you. They're just cute. They're all decorated. And I said, well, isn't it cold? You shop outside? Yes. He said, it is cold, but it's cool. And he said, you just go inside the stores. There's all kind of stores around there. You get warmed up, and then you go back out and check out things again. So I thought, you know what, when I went to the Belleville Main Street meeting and heard this, I thought, well, wait a minute. That's what he's talking about. Also, when I started hearing stuff in the air about people worrying about, you know, their money not being spent at their shops, in May, I went down to Art on the Square. And I ended up spending my money at Soul Survivor. Bought the cutest little purse you ever saw. So you will go downtown, and I'm not saying they're not going to spend their money at the Christmas mart, but they're also going to have exposure to our shops, our very, very unique shops downtown. And this is something that will draw them. It's something you don't find anywhere. I think Chicago is going to be your closest place. So if that can draw them down, and it's cold enough, let's just pray for cold weather. Then they're going to go in those shops, and they're going to see something, just like I did on my way to Art on the Square, and came back and spent there. So I think it's going to be we have a very unique town, and it is a very unique idea. And I think that we could run with it, and I think it could do us good. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Daryl Drennan, 609 Sycamore Street, Belleville. I'm for the Christmas pageant or shopping thing also. My wife lived in Germany as a girl, and then in the 90s she was an officer in the Army stationed over there. And she is excited about this, and she says she doesn't think it's going to have any impact on the local businesses. And this weekend I took a walk. Everybody's their own business owner. They can set their own hours, but I think y'all need to capitalize on the tourists that are going to come for this, closing at 5 or 5:30 every day. I don't think you're going to make, you're not going to capitalize on them. If you are willing to stay open on Sundays, stay open a little bit later during the week while this is going on, I think as these tourists come through, I think you'll make some money on the deal. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? If not, I'm going to close public participation, and we're going to move into the regular part of the meeting. The next thing I want to say is that we covered the presentation with Brad Joseph, but as we do each month, the first council meeting of the month, the character word of the month is citizenship, meaning doing your share to make your community better and being a good neighbor. So we continuously read those character words, and we certainly believe in what they stand for. At this time, I would ask for approval of the minutes of the last council meeting.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the city council meeting minutes from June 16th, 2014.
Second.
So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
Page 5, when we were talking about giving money for an economic development project, Alderman Schneider and I voted no. You have her reason for voting no. I also explained my reason, and I'd like it listed.
Okay. You note that? It's not really, but we'll talk about that later. Okay. Okay, so we have that noted. Anything else at this time? All in favor of approving the minutes with that said stated change? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, we ask for a motion to pay the claims, payroll, and disbursements.
Yes, Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to pay the claims, payroll, and disbursements. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion on this motion? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion carries. I know is there the zoning board, do you want to do them all individually, or do you able to put some of them in a group? What's your pleasure?
I want item 44 and case 45 separated, Your Honor.
What number of 30?
Case 44, 45 separated.
44 and 45, is there anything else you want separated? 43, so we can read them all except for 43, 44, and 45, we'll do them individually. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Dallas, you okay with that?
Let's do it.
So if you will read them accordingly, and this is, go ahead.
Number 1, amend section 60-6-73 to include the terms commercial office and call center to the permitted uses in the D1 light industrial zoning district based on resolution 2982. Number 2, case 37, June 14, Scott Muir requesting a sign installation permit for the area of special control in order to install one 3x3 vinyl window decal and one 2x2 vinyl window decal at 124 East Main Street located in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district. 3, case 38, June 14, Empire Comfort Systems Incorporated, requesting to rezone the property at 921 and 925 Freeburg Avenue from an A1 single-family zoning district to D1 light industrial zoning district. Number 4, case 39, June 14, Empire Comfort Systems Incorporated, requesting an area bulk variance for relief from the required 25-foot setbacks in the D1 light industry zoning district at 921 and 925 Freeburg Avenue. 5, case 40, June 14, Karen D. Tinsley, requesting a use variance in order to allow light commercial retail use with allowance of occasional foot traffic for primarily online-based mail-order business looking to increase local exposure in business at 3814 North Belt West, located in a C1 light commercial zoning district. 6, case 42, June 14, SSC Incorporated Verizon, requesting a special use permit in order to install a wireless communication facility at 4500 Memorial Drive, located in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Number 10.
That's 1 through 6. Would you like to do 10 now as well?
We'll do the ones that we didn't include, is that right? We'll go ahead and proceed with 10 and 11.
10 and
yeah?
11?
Okay.
Sure. Number 10, case 46, June 14, Bank of Belleville, requesting an area bulk variance in order to reduce the number of required on-site parking spaces at 213, 219 South Illinois Street in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district. 11, case 47, City of Belleville, requesting a site installation permit for the area of special control in order to place 1 freestanding sign totaling 16 square feet, 2 flush-mounted wall signs totaling approximately 10 square feet each, and 1 awning sign totaling approximately 10 square feet in area for a total of 46 square feet of signage at 407 East Lincoln Street in a C2 heavy commercial zoning district.
Okay, we have a motion by Alderman Seibert to comply with the zoning board and have the proper ordinance drawn on all those that were just read.
Second.
And second by Alderman Schmidt. Understanding again that number 7, which is case 43, number 8, case 44, and number 9, case 45 are excluded from this motion.
Yes.
To be voted on separately. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
If there's no further discussion, all in favor of approving these zoning board recommendations from the zoning board and have the proper ordinances drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Would you now read number 7, Dallas?
Yes, sir. Number 7, case 43, June 14, Donna Gonzalez, requesting a use variance in order to use the accessory structure as a residence at 3912 Summit Street, located in A1 single-family zoning district.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve and have the proper ordinance drawn.
I second that.
We have a motion by Alderman Randall, second by Alderman Rudowitz to,
Can I say something, Mayor?
yes.
Kent and I talked to Donna, and this is never going to be a rental property. It is going to be strictly for family. She's got, right now, their son lives in the house, and when he moves out, and they're living in this back residence, and they will move into the other one, and the daughters will move into this little residence, and eventually, Mom, who is disabled, will move in. So it'll be strictly family at all times. And we could put a speculation that it can never be a rental.
So we have a motion and we have a second, and we have Mr. Alderman Ridgewitz's, and you concur with that, Alderman Randall?
I do, sir.
That the stipulation would be that this would only be for family only and never to be a rental. Questions?
So according to the meeting minutes, there were no objectors from the neighborhood, is that correct?
No.
And you guys haven't heard anything?
I live in that neighborhood. I'm only about 5 houses from there, and no one has come to me. This piece of property they were talking about, people have lived in it before.
It's been a residence since 1960. It has its own address. There's a driveway there. There's been no one at the zoning board meeting, to my knowledge, that objected in person. I'd have to defer to the aldermen who were present.
And no one in the neighborhood has come up to me and said they don't.
Well, I think with the stipulation, we help stay much more consistent with what we've done in the past about second residences on same property. I think if it's family, you know, we've had, over the years, we've run into a number of the mother-in-law's house, as they were stated or whatever, from back after World War II or before. So I think that stays much more consistent with that. So with this, Emily, do you have a question for us, or I'm just yielding because it's kind of unique? Okay, so you're, okay. So I think at this time, I'm going to call for the vote to ask that this item be approved and have the proper ordinance drawn based on the addition that the 2 aldermen from Ward 3 placed on this motion. Everybody understand? All in favor of this motion with those changes and providing to have the proper ordinance drawn, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go to the next case.
Number 8, case 44, June 14, Barney Johnson, requesting a use variance in order to erect a 10-by-10 frame building to enclose vacuum and electrical equipment at 114 North 44th Street, located in the B1 multifamily zoning district.
Your Honor, can you have them read case 45 since they were presented that night together?
Okay. Read case 45.
Case 45, June 14, Barney Johnson, requesting area bulk variance to erect a structure 2 feet from the front and side property lines at 114 North 44th Street, located in a B1 multifamily zoning district.
Your Honor, the reason I asked these to be pulled out and not voted in the regular vote, I understand this is in Ward 4. The gentleman that lives next to this property also is a friend of mine. He contacted me concerned at the meeting that he did not feel people were listening to his concerns as it relates to noise. And I got a chance to read through the minutes, and it states in the minutes that if this is going to cause additional noise, which is going to basically disturb him, is sleeping, possibly the value of the home, it was suggested that he could put up a privacy fence. Your Honor, if a business is coming in and asking for a variance and wants to do something next to a residential area, shouldn't it be the business trying to quell the noise?
Beg your pardon, Mr. Hayden. No one suggested he put up a fence. Mr. Johnson suggested that to be a good neighbor, if additional noise was generated by his constructing the building and moving the actual vacuums inside of the building, that he would construct a fence. I think that was just a misunderstanding. The gist of the whole situation out there is that right now, those vacuums are sitting outside. They're sitting outside, they're enclosed by nothing. And if anyone possibly goes over there and get their car washed, you could possibly hear those vacuums running. Now, the gentleman does live behind the apartment building that's adjacent to the car wash. And it's understandable his concern since he does work at night, and consequently he sleeps in the daytime. Now, Mr. Johnson, he's been there quite a number of years, and what he suggested is that he would build the building insulated, put mufflers on the vacuums, however, so he would do it, and actually put up a privacy fence along the backside of his car wash to kind of enclose that building and all. I don't know if Mr. Johnson is here. I don't know if Ms. Horton, but that was my understanding that I got from it. Actually, we see a possible reduction in overall noise that's being presented right now out there. His concern is the residents' concern is well noted. We wanted to actually talk to him afterwards because it seemed like he didn't really understand what was going on, but he left, and I'm sorry that we couldn't really get across.
He was very upset. Mr. Alderman Anthony, I respect your input. I appreciate that. I don't know if you've had a chance to read the minutes that were in the packet, but then I think you may want to make some suggestions to the zoning board, because as I read it, it states here, Alderman Anthony spoke in favor of the request and suggested to Mr. Kimber Jr. that he may wish to place a privacy fence on his property to reduce the noise from the apartment complex and car wash. Do you understand? That's what's in the minutes.
Well, they got it wrong, man.
Okay, I'm just telling you what's in the minutes.
I suggest that a resident should put up a privacy fence. I suggested that Mr. Johnson could put up a privacy fence.
But that was not part of the stipulations.
In between the back of,
Could be added now.
I suggested it, and he agreed that if, after he done the work, that if there was still a noise concern, him being a good neighbor over there in that neighborhood that he would make the adjustments himself. Now, that was my understanding. Sorry that it was, you know, and I can see where he may have gotten the wrong understanding there also, so.
Well, yeah, the minutes are
Yeah.
state that your statements were wrong, then obviously I could see where there was some
Yeah, that was
communication is what happened.
That was a misinterpretation. I surely would not suggest a resident go to the expense putting up a privacy fence on his property, when actually the parcels that we're talking about, both parcels actually belong to Mr. Johnson.
Yeah.
So.
But if he says he's willing to put up a privacy fence, and the resident has already stated that he believes that this is going to be an issue and concern, why wouldn't we make that part of the stipulation now?
I don't know if Emily you weren't there, were you?
I went home sick that day, I wasn't there.
Okay, I don't know,
Are you willing to make that part of the stipulation, Alderman Anthony?
Sure.
But whose decision is that going to be?
Yeah.
Ward 4, that's what I'm asking. Who is going to decide whether the noise is?
Well, if you all
I'm
here
saying that it'd
tonight-
be a part of the stipulation that he
If-
put it
if-
up as part of the project.
If you
Mr.
think tonight
Davidson.
that should be part of the stipulation, this council has a right to add that as a stipulation.
We've done that with many other projects.
So I would.
I mean, that's a standard thing.
Let me get this right. What are you suggesting? Well, how would it read? You're saying that he would have to put this fence up regardless?
As part of his construction.
As part of his construction, yes.
Well, he's gonna put up one privacy fence already. Now, we're suggesting, you know, two, that's what I'm saying.
In the area of concern, yes.
If he puts up a privacy fence in back of the car wash, all the way down from the street, all the way to the, I guess, to the end of it, and are you saying that we should stipulate that he should put up two privacy fences?
If it's in the area of the concern of the resident, yes, that's been our normal standard practice.
I just don't know about requiring somebody.
Well, that's not, I think we're a little bit unclear here about the fences. Alderman Schneider had her hand up first.
Yes, it says that the structure 2 feet from the front and side property lines. Well, there's not going to be enough room for him to put up a fence if the structure's already going to be 2 feet from the line. If I understood right, when I put my shed up, you have to be 5 feet from the line.
Well, that's why they're asking for this bulk
Right.
variance.
Right.
That's one of the.
Well, then there's no way they can put a fence, because then they're gonna really be, how can they come back? The fence should have been addressed first, because then they're gonna have to come back, because they're already not in compliance with the ordinance, because it says 2 feet that the shed will be, then you gotta have room to get around. There's no room. You'll be onto the man's property.
I'm gonna let Emily give some explanation possibly that might help us.
Well, some explanation and some questions also. So the explanation, as far as our fence requirements go, they don't have to be set back from a side property line. They do have to be, a fence does have to be set back from the street a certain distance. So on the street that goes, what street is it that goes north Belt West there?
42nd, what is that?
It would have to be set back from that street
44th.
a certain distance, which
44th
would
Street.
not fence in the shed at all. My question, I guess, is we're talking about fencing in a shed here. The way these parcels are arranged, the car wash is on a parcel. As you go north of the car wash, there's a separate parcel that has the parking lot, and then you have a parcel on which the apartment building is located. So the parcel that is just the parking lot is where the shed is going to go. It's going to be used for the business that is the car wash. They're going to be taking up 2 parking spaces from the apartment complex, but there's enough parking there anyway, so that's okay.
Does he own the apartment also?
He owns all of it.
Okay, so.
That's why he's applying for this.
So he
I'm a
has
little
the ability to
confused
put
at
that.
where this fence would go if that motion is made. I want to make sure that it's something we can enforce.
Okay, Alderman Randall.
The shed itself, it says it's to be used for storage. So does that make the equipment portable that it would be used outside of the shed, or is it to be used within the shed?
The vacuums are permanently attached to the ground. It's a huge piece of equipment, you know,
So I guess my
that's not
question
portable.
is, you're got something that's already enclosed, now you want to put another barrier around it?
Well, I think
That's what
Mr. Johnson
Mr. Hayden's
suggested
proposing.
that. And, you know, I don't think that was part of the original, I don't think that was in the package here.
A fence was never part of this
Right.
discussion until tonight, is my understanding.
And it came up, the fence actually came up after the gentleman raised a concern over the additional noise that would be generated.
Possible additional noise.
Right, but possible, right, exactly, possible, because until it's done, right now, those vacuums are sitting out in the open. You can actually see
Right.
them if you want
Sure.
to see them. And, he's suggesting that he's gonna put them inside of a building, insulate the building and some other stuff that he was gonna do, but it would also, enclose the electrical equipment that operate those things. And, so, like I say,
Alderman Holt.
So are the vacuums moving from the location they are now?
Yeah,
To where?
Yeah, he would move them from from one end of the parking lot. They're actually on the other end of the parking lot, on the car wash parcel. He suggests moving them down to the, near the, I guess that would be 44th Street.
Closer to the
At the
residence.
other end of the parking lot.
Okay.
And, you know, I guess therefore, he wanted to change his entire way the cars come in and all of that, you know.
So I'm not understanding though, because these are generally out in the open because you're using them in your vehicle.
Right.
Is it a three-sided shed?
This would just be
or-
the hoses
The long
that he
hoses.
attaches, and the hoses will run, out of attachments that's on the side of the building. And, the equipment itself would be enclosed inside of the
Okay,
building.
and so the nearby resident is objecting because they are moving closer to his residence?
I would
And so
think
he's
so.
anticipating the noise
I
from the
would think
vacuum?
so.
Okay.
Yes, he is.
We're giving them a bulk variance to move within 2 feet of the edge of the property line.
Alderman White, you had your hand up earlier.
No idea, but I think Alderman Anthony answered most of it. The way it was described in the meeting was that the shed was going to be so designed that it would actually muffle a majority of the sound as opposed to keeping it outside the way it is now.
Right.
And the opinion was, the way I understood it, that he thought that he had the ability to muffle the sound, and if he didn't, then he said that he volunteered
Right.
to put up a privacy fence to help.
Right, I don't know how they got it, how they got the printing of that wrong. That wasn't, we didn't, I surely didn't sit there and suggest to the resident. One of my residents put up no, sir.
I'm telling you what it
Sir,
says. That's all I'm doing.
Alderman,
If it was one of your residents, we might have done that.
Alderman Schmidt.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we go along and follow the recommendation of the zoning board as they did it, not put any additional burden on the property owner, since it sounds like he's willing to address it if it is a problem. He's an established business.
You've been here a long time.
Yeah.
And he's assured me, we had a lengthy conversation. I actually went out there, Jim went out there also. We went out there and he's assured us that whatever concern comes up over there with the residents, that he's gonna work to alleviate that problem. And just the fact that he's enclosing this thing that's outside right now is going to alleviate a lot of noise. I think his concern is pretty unfounded, and I can see that he would be concerned, but I think that he should give the guy a chance to actually
So
try to get it
we
done.
have a motion, let's go back. Who made the original motion?
I did.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And this is a motion to approve the zoning board's recommendation and have the proper ordinance drawn.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
If there's no further discussion, I'm gonna call for a roll call vote, though, because it's a little confusing here. Yes, sir.
Are we just doing number 8 or 8 and 9?
8 and 9.
I would ask that we do them as a group, is that okay?
Yes.
They're really they're the same thing, they're, the one's the set, that one's the bulk. So this would be is that okay, Alderman Schmidt and Alderman, who made the second?
Yeah.
Second, you both agree
Yes.
that it's for both of those two components that we have to do according to the zoning code. So we have a motion to approve those two, number 40, 44 and 45 case number, and have the proper ordinance drawn. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson. Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
No.
Seibert. White.
Aye.
Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion's carry. Okay, we got the zoning complete. We're gonna go down to oral reports. Alderman Heisler.
Yes, Your Honor. On behalf of the Master Sewer Committee, I would like to make a motion to approve the LTCP construction pay request number 47 from Cordy Lujan and Tuvenel Wade and Mershon for a total amount of $58,125.01. So moved, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Heisler, second by Alderman Hayden. Any discussion on this motion coming from Master Sewer? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Abstain.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall. Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Motion carries. Communications.
A, communication from Belleville 200 Committee and Mayor Eckert requesting permission from the council to allow the Civil War encampment at Everett Anand Park to remain on the premises overnight on Friday, September 19th and Saturday, September 20th, 2014.
Move the request be granted, Your Honor.
Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman White. Any discussion?
How many people do you think are spending the night?
Well, they know how big the space is. I don't know, but they have equipment and they have they have stuff there. They're gonna display and they don't wanna leave it. And it's also part of their tradition, they usually, so we felt this is a unique situation that would be perfectly fine. But it goes against our ordinance in the park, so we, you know, right there, so we need to.
I thought at one time we had turned the water off there. Are we turning it back on for this?
I'll double check. Yeah, we will for that weekend, but it's been regulated just because it used to get turned on by kids and that left running. But we can do that easily from a valve. Okay, so we have a motion to have a second to approve this request for the 200th. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
B, request from the Belleville 200 Committee to allow the Belleville Cultural Enrichment Organization, the Belleville 200 Committee, to expand the bicentennial events for the year to include a German Christmas market. The market will be open November 28th through December 23rd, 2014, and would entail 8 to 12 chalets set up in the Meredith Home Quadrant, as well as the Bank of America, Mathis, Murphy, and Richter Quadrant. The hours would be Sunday 12 to 6 p.m. and Monday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Fridays and Saturdays 10 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Move the request be granted.
Motion by Alderman Seibert. Do I hear a second? Second by Alderman Schmidt. Discussion. Alderman White?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I have a statement here from several businesses downtown I'd like to read into the record.
Okay.
It's dated today, July 7th, 2014. Dear Mayor and City Council, we as business owners in downtown Belleville area have the following concerns that need to be addressed before the Kristen mark is voted upon. Our concerns are as follows. Number one, there's limited parking during the holiday season, and this market will add to the already existing situation. Number two, the statement, if this doesn't work this year, we won't do it again, is not a responsible statement. If this market does or doesn't work this year, it could cause the area to lose merchants due to the fact that they did not have a profitable fourth quarter. Most retail stores count on the fourth quarter to make their year profitable as a business. Number three, before voting for this project, we are asking all the aldermen and alderwomen, please consider the local businesses that are here 365 days out of the year and how this will affect each and every one of them. Number four, we believe that making a decision without having all of the facts is a recipe for disaster. Marketing decisions should be made on the merits of studies and statistics, not because something sounds like a good idea. Number five, the projected cost for this project is still unknown. How can anyone judge if this is even a viable project without knowing the projected cost? Number six, it has been stated that the items sold will not compete with what our stores are already carrying. However, it was also stated that these vendors will have jewelry, women's fashions, toys, handbags, ornaments, baked goods, etc., all of which are being sold by our local merchants. Perhaps there could be a committee formed consisting of merchants and organizers of this event excuse me, for communication purposes. The comparisons made so far, number seven, excuse me, the comparisons made so far with the cities that are much larger in size in Belleville. The city of Belleville has approximately 44,478, and Chicago has 2,695,598. completely different cities. However, this market is constantly being compared to the Chicago market. The presenter hasn't been to any of the other markets in the U.S., only the one in Germany. If we are going to compare this to the Chicago market, why isn't there a market on Michigan Avenue, which would be comparable to our main street? Number 8, the presenter stated that she should have started planning all of this a year ago. However, she didn't have the time. Why rush through this? Simply due to the fact that the presenter wants it tied to the 200 celebration is not a viable answer. And number 9, this event is being compared to Art on the Square, which is a 3-day event, not a 26-day event. Art on the Square is a juried event, and this event is not. We as business owners in the city of Belleville appreciate the time of communication we've received from some of you. Communication between the city and the business owners will do nothing but strengthen this city. Please keep that in mind going forward. We are asking the city to, if nothing else, table this topic until all questions are answered. Please consider all of our concerns and do not approve this project. Thank you for your time and understanding, and signers are Grimm and Gorley Florists and Gifts, Circa Boutique and Gifts, Happy Hop Home Brew, Ben's Gift Shop, Blanker Jewelers, Soul Survivor Leather and Art Gallery, Piece by Piece, Colleen Gallery, and Gifts. And now, after reading this, Your Honor, I would like the council to entertain a motion to postpone it until the next meeting. Not that I don't think it's a good idea, but I would like to see the city and these merchants get together, cooperate, and come up with a mutual agreement as to what should and should not be presented at the market, and move forward from that.
I'll second that motion.
So we have a motion to approve, and then we have
Table for
a motion to table.
Postpone to the next meeting.
Okay.
2 weeks.
We have discussion before the discussion is still open before we have
Yes.
any vote.
Your Honor, I also had concerns brought to my attention from some of the merchants against and some for. In addition to some of the concerns that were raised there by the merchants, before we approved this in these 2 quadrants, with this being a new concept, I'd also like to see a planning scope of project. You know, how is this gonna, we have nothing, you know, to show us how is this gonna be laid out, where are these things gonna be, what it, you know, where are these wooden things we're talking about gonna, I'd like to see a layout of where they want to place them at on each of the quadrant. We have not discussed, you know, security issues on who's going to be watching them at night. Are they going to be staying with them? Is this going to become part of the police? You know, these fall into the same questions that relate to the overall costs. One of the questions, again, that was raised in my concern is, and the video is very, very informative, very, very informative, and yet I certainly understand the uniqueness that you want to have German-type things to create that uniqueness, but maybe, as Alderman White presented it in the letter from the merchants, if we can come up, and I certainly like the idea of trying to get not-for-profits involved. I'll certainly be mentioning that to the Corey League organization that I serve on, see if they would be interested if this does come to fruition. But you know, maybe there's a way that we can work out something where the local merchants can participate and be down there and sell something too. So there's a multiple of questions. It's the early part of July. Christmas is in December. I understand that they need to get going on the planning, but I have a problem approving something that we don't seem to have a full plan of what the details are. And I think if we take the added time and communicate, we can try to get everybody all on the same page instead of rushing this through and walking away with merchants not supporting it, possibly aldermen not supporting it, and then citizens not supporting it.
Alderman Schmidt.
Well, my understanding is the Belleville 200 committee has been planning all the events, and I would like to also say, like, they did a great job Saturday night They would be planning this and working with the merchants. We're simply approving that, putting it on there so they can start the plan to build the structures and get it ready. I mean, I don't think the city is gonna be masterminding this, or am I misunderstanding that?
No, this event this year is being sponsored by the 200th.
Right.
As part of the culture, enrichment, the culture of the heritage. And it's truly believed that, sitting on those meetings, that this will bring a large number of new shoppers to Belleville, and particularly the military. Alderman Schneider.
Yes. For one thing, this is not like Art on the Square. They're here 3 days and gone. For God's sake, it's the whole Christmas season they're gonna be there. And these people are gonna come and go. They're not furnishing their place where they're going to be selling their stuff. They're gonna have no overhead. Everything's gonna be a 100% profit. And if they're gonna have electricity for the cash registers to work. Who's paying for that but us citizens and the businesses? So they're getting hit twice. They're paying for their own overhead, plus they're paying for the overhead of these come and go people. And someone made the topic about security. Well, last year I questioned a lot with the security that we have at Walmart and all the big stores. And Chief Clay said that these businesses pay for their own services.
The big boxes do.
Yes, because I had asked the question to have an officer walk through Dollar General at Wade Square because they were having so many problems. Well, they would have to pay for an officer. All I asked for was a walkthrough. Here we're going to be having people check on these businesses all night long. And the next thing, I guess the main thing is, because I won't mess with calling the county, I'll call the state. It was mentioned that there's going to be food and drinks. Where are these people gonna go to the bathroom? There's another thing they don't have to pay for. Where, most important, where are they going to wash their hands with warm water to hot water for so many seconds, as it's stated as a health rule? And another thing, I guess we'd have to call the state fire marshal. When they have these buildings, these people are not gonna stay in them all day long without any kind of heat. So that means there's gonna be either electric heaters or these propane gas heaters. So where's the safety gonna come in on that? These 10 by 10 sheds, our ordinance states a 10 by 10 shed has to be anchored down to hold 90-mile-an-hour per winds. Next thing, if they put these chalets in the quadrant by the bank, by the end of October, our historical plaques are going to be in the ground. Now, are we going to want any of these sheds, that's exactly what they're gonna be, 10 by 10, sitting on these plaques and all this I mean, there's so many things that need to be worked out that I think it needs to go back to the drawing board before we can even vote on it. And our businesses downtown, they're here 365 days a year. They are what makes Belleville. And we're taking away from them at their most profitable time of year. If we want these businesses to come in and do this, let them. There's plenty of vacant buildings downtown. Let them rent them. Oh, then another thing, then they're gonna have to bring them up to code. Then it's gonna cost them. So these businesses are going to come, make a profit with no overhead, but to come here. When our businesses are here all the time, they're the ones that keep Belleville going. I think it just needs to go right back where it came from, and as far as security, when we can't have an officer just walk through a store, but yet we can have an officer uptown for security of these buildings. I know I covered it. And this ain't gonna be like it was at the Downtown Development Redevelopment Commission. When I had the floor, I was told that one of the commissions says, well, I'm a commission. Well, you know what, fine, she may have been there, but Mayor, and that's another thing. We don't practice what's preached. And that didn't happen that day. she should have been told, I had the floor, we talk about these words of the month, but we don't obey by them.
Okay.
Now, I mean, I'll be the first one to call the health department. You set these places up here without them being able to wash their hands and go to the bathroom.
The health department would be called by us if this gets
Well, where are they
approved.
gonna wash their hands?
Well, like they do at Arden Square, there will be basins.
So the businesses that are already helping them come up with their overhead, because you go in some of the businesses, there's signs, no public restrooms. So where are they going to use the bathrooms and that? These
Well,
businesses?
we have, the city has placed a couple Johnny on the spots downtown.
But we want Johnny on the spots at Christmas time?
We had some down that Christmas time for the parade and for the Christmas shopping.
But they're gonna be here for the whole Christmas season.
We hope so.
No, the Johnny on the spots?
Well, they could be. We could place them in a proper place where we could have them available.
Where are they gonna wash their hands?
Well, we'll work with the health department on satisfying that concern.
And what about the fire department?
The fire department's
we
already
have
sat in the
people-
initial meetings. The fire chief has sat in, and he's already working on some guidelines, and he's heard this
And
early
who's gonna pay
stipulation.
for all this?
They're
The-
gonna,
The businesses that are already there and the good taxpayers. How many, if you asked, how many people would they like to
Okay.
have their electric and their heat paid for the month of December because they came to Belleville, they live here, and they shop here?
okay, Alderman Davidson?
Alderman White, what restrictions do you, what answers do you want in the 2-week period? What would you like, what are we trying to get to? I mean.
We're trying, Alderman.
And just an example of parking, you know, we don't have enough parking. We're not gonna solve that.
Well, I didn't say we're gonna solve everything, but I think there was a perception by some of the merchants that I talked to or that called me, that this was kind of a last minute thing and there wasn't enough planning involved in the relationship between the merchants and the 200 committee to coordinate this. And one of my concerns was, they say there's not a, right in front of me, they say there's not any, and there won't be any competition between the German market and the brick and mortar stores, and that's, the only one I could pull up on the internet was the festival that they have up in Chicago, and there are lots of things that on this list that they were selling, and I know that's not the case here yet, but I think that's what we need. We need to set a tone where we can work together, where the merchants and the 200. I'm not saying that you're going to solve every problem, but I think they, as our constituents that are here all the time, deserve an input, a more direct input into what's going to happen. And I think that would satisfy a majority of the people that talk to me.
I agree with you, Alderman White, but I'm also kind of looking at it as to solve the problem. What do we hope to gain from the 2 weeks? I'm not against it. When the young lady stepped up from Ben's and talked about communication, it seems like there's a lack of communication or a falling down of communication. I don't know. Emily's so good at stuff that I find out, you know, that she wasn't involved in this. But if there was a lack of communication, or if there was if we could communicate better between these organizations in the city, I think you're right, exactly. But I am looking at the idea of 2 weeks from now, what are we gonna, are we gonna be in disagreement about 1, 2, or 5 of these items, or are we gonna be closer together, or what do you hope to accomplish?
Hopefully, we'll be closer together. In most instances, you know, your perception of reality is reality, and their perception is they weren't included in this, and for various reasons. Maybe some of them weren't at the meeting. There are a number of reasons, but my suggestion is not to just eliminate this completely. What I would like to see is the 200 committee and the merchants, even maybe facilitated by the city, Emily or somebody in the city, to get together and to try to work it out in an amicable method.
I'm sorry, go ahead, you done?
No, I'm done, thank you.
Alderman Schneider, Alderman Seibert, would you come forward and take the bench for a minute? I would like to approach the microphone and speak. You're going to be the moderator tonight. Take my seat.
Get the big chair.
Take the big chair. See how you get used to it.
Musical chairs.
Alderman Seibert, if it's okay, I'd like to make some comments, and I thought it'd be best if I don't get accused of reading them or stating them from the chair.
Go ahead, John.
First of all, I want to say to everyone, every merchant in downtown Belleville is invited to participate in downtown Main Street, which this city council supports financially and supports that organization for the last, well, since 1999, I believe it started. They have an opportunity and a voice. They're invited. They're also invited to be a part of the chamber. I went to the Main Street meeting when this was presented. There was 24 members there. Some of you are here tonight. It was very well received. Carol Pointowski did that presentation, and it was a unanimous vote that night to give this a chance. The 200th committee, which I sit on, believes that this is with, and I can use his name, Mr. Bob Fritz, and the Sister City program are very much endorsing this, and he's out of town tonight, or he would be here speaking on his own behalf, that we believe that this is another way to, number one, greatly attract so many military folks that are in the area to come to downtown. Now, some of the criticism that my office received, and I did not personally hear from any of the merchants who were opposed to this, except for Mr. Blankert and I had a conversation. But, you know, some of them I think have some misconceptions. Some of the comments were that the city doesn't do anything for the merchants. And I find that to be very much upsetting, because in the last 9.5 years that I've had the privilege of serving as your mayor, we have totally redone the downtown streetscape. We've seen that project through, a $7.1 million project. We have provided the street lighting that's new, the new lighting that came up a couple months ago, that's most like, but it's new. The flowers, we clean, we have a man downtown cleaning virtually 7 days a week, picking up litter. Merchants, other places in town, we do some marketing, because we have, as a council, in the 17 years that I've been involved in city government, have believed that it is our responsibility to make sure the core of the downtown city does not die. And in the last 9.5 years, I am proud to say, and I think you all agree, the downtown mood, tone, and appearance of our downtown is totally alive and vibrant today. There were some who were against Art on the Square. There were some who were against some of our parades and some of our other festivals. And while we have to be cautious how we plan these to not negatively impact our business, I think everyone would agree that we have brought a whole new look and feel to our downtown that's being now recognized across the whole St. Louis metropolitan area and the communities around us. All we're asking, the 200th, is, and I say, and I understand the statement, there's a risk with everything we do. I will tell you that if we don't make this commitment tonight, the project is probably dead, because these vendors, while anything short of a year's notice is considered short notice, they basically know that there's going to be proposal tonight to make a decision. So I would ask that you would consider approving this. Not that we won't sit down, Alderman White, and I will sit down personally to try to work out the concerns that these folks have, that didn't come to the Main Street meeting when we hammered this out, and that haven't come to me personally other than some emails stating the city does nothing for them, which I greatly disagree. And I will continue. If anyone thinks that I want to do anything to hurt the downtown atmosphere that we've created in the last 9.5 years, I think you really are foolish to believe that. I've spent too much of my life working to make your downtown and this look and feel and this atmosphere be vibrant. So I want to work with you. But I want you to work with Main Street and the Chamber and us. And I ask you tonight, because if it doesn't pass tonight, as Carol told me, and it's been talked about for a while, but first time we really hit it here, We talked about it, and some of you came to downtown redevelopment, et cetera. We won't have the time to secure this, but we have a unique opportunity this year with the 200th. The unions will help build them. We've got already a large amount of donations. We're not asking for the city to put in any money. We're not asking that tonight. We have security downtown and in front of Walmart and in front of the West End, Kmart and Belleville Crossing. Every year we prove, since I've been mayor and before, the Blue Team project, we have extra patrol many nights for the Christmas holiday season. We've done that and we will continue to do that as long as I sit in this position, because it's the right thing to do. So there'll be no extra necessary. These things will be come down, they'll be designed where they're brought down the lids, padlocked shut, and they'll be secure. Now, can somebody break into them? They can break into anything if somebody really wants to, but we believe we will have them secure and the police will be downtown the same presence we always have. So I hope I've maybe cleared up a few issues, but I think if we hadn't been aggressive and visionaries, we wouldn't have our streetscape, we wouldn't have the things that we have, and I do firmly believe with all my heart, we have an opportunity to increase the presence of our military families in downtown Belleville like we've never had before. And I ask you to strongly consider that when we put this to a vote. Thank you.
I got questions, Mr. Chairman, for the mayor while he's not in the chair. Okay. If I may. And I appreciate you, I appreciate you vacating the chair, Your Honor, because the chair is supposed to run the meeting in a nonpartisan way, and I appreciate that.
Ditto.
So you're telling me we've got this letter, and you're telling me, which has happened many times before, either we approve this tonight or we're under the gun again. It seems like so many different things, Your Honor. We're on a lot of things, Your Honor. It's either we approve it tonight or it's over.
Life is about timing, Alderman Hayden, and I'm just going with Mrs. Pointowski has told me. She left on this year-long family trip that she had planned, and she said if we really don't make it tonight, the merchants, and you're here, am I correct? Yes. But is that Carol's words? That it's imperative that we do make some determination tonight, because otherwise the vendors don't have the time to make. This is correct. Okay.
What do you mean by determination?
Well, if
I mean, because we've not seen a plan, Your Honor, and you got.
We do have a plan. I didn't bring it here with me tonight. We do have a plan for the sketch, the layout. It's been done. I can get that to you as soon as probably tomorrow.
But I don't have that before I get the vote. Do you understand how that's
okay? I understand it's all not perfect, Alderman Hayden.
It's information that should have
Okay,
been
now
here.
don't shoot. You know, I'm a messenger here too right now.
I understand.
But I'm saying that, you know, we're asking to take a little risk, but we believe me, these folks have this the 200th anniversary committee people and the group that's working with this subcommittee are very, a lot of the same people are on Arna Square. A lot of the same committee members. I talked to Patty Gregory today. She told me she wholeheartedly endorses this. And I'll go back 13 years ago, and there were people who were very, very queasy about doing Arna Square. It had a lot of resistance at first.
Your Honor, but again,
okay.
I'm not arguing against this or the concept of it.
This is not the revised.
And I don't believe Alderman White is, but we had the ability. If we communicated and planned better, we're going to walk away here tonight possibly with certain. And I know certain people didn't support the art on the square, and et cetera, and some of the things. But why do we want to walk away with? We want to walk away with as many people united as possible, and we're inhibiting that if we don't present all the information that we have to the people that make the decision, which is the city council.
Okay. Like I said, I will tell you that I'm more than willing, as the mayor and as a member, and the one who actually came to you and appointed the 200th committee. I'm very much aware that I will promise you that we will sit and listen, and we will do everything we can to address many of these concerns. But I will tell you that I'm afraid that if we don't move it forward tonight, and we're not, I don't believe, I think it's, the whole thing is, I believe you're going to see many more people brought downtown, and you're going to see a great new opportunity unfold in front of us.
I believe that's all possible.
I think it is very possible. And I agree, like a lot of things, sometimes there's a short window of opportunity to have these things, to take advantage of them. I think, you know, unfortunately, is it perfect timing that we got everything to you? I apologize for that and the committee, but like I said, I would ask you that you have some faith, and when you look at the experience of what we have done together downtown, and I think this committee and the people who are behind this deserve a chance that we're not going to do anything to hurt our businesses. As far as the parking concern, as you know, we're talking about parking constantly in committees and adding more parking. I'm very much aware of that. We just bought a parking lot with 90 more stalls downtown that we closed on last Monday, that some of them probably aren't even aware of. So I think that, you know, folks, at a time when we're fighting to keep St. Elizabeth's Hospital downtown and not lose that, we need to continue to work together to bring more people downtown, because if that unfortunate scenario ends up unfolding in the wrong way, we're going to have even more devastating voids to fill. So we need to be trying and seizing this moment and this opportunity to try to bring more people and grow our downtown, because these businesses will be hurting far more if St. Elizabeth vacates downtown than what this Christmas market might or might not do one season if we give it a try. So, and we're fighting for that, believe me.
I concur with all of that.
Okay.
All I'm saying is we're missing important ingredients.
And I'm not denying that it's not a perfect presentation tonight, but I'm asking you that I do believe time is of essence, and I do believe, listening to Mrs. Pointowski, who's the one who told me, look, if we don't get moving on this immediately, and she's going to, from vacation, contact these vendors, because if not, they're going to go other places or they're going to cancel
When
this.
did she do her initial presentation?
When did she do it?
Yeah.
At Main Street, Darrell? What was the date? It was a good 3 weeks ago. June something.
So we knew 3 weeks ago that it was imperative that we get this decision.
We've learned since then, getting back, because see, it wasn't until we had that initial presentation that she really went hard-pressed to try to get all the vendors that she could. We told them that night that we believed we could do it, but now I think she's got eight or nine locked in if we let them know immediately.
Alderman Schneider.
Yes, question. Why did she contact vendors before she got the approval from us and the council?
It's like anything else. If we couldn't pull this off, we had nothing to present.
She should have done this a long time ago.
No, let's don't take anything out on a retired military volunteer who's trying to do something good for our city.
Okay.
I think you're a little bit hostile here to the wrong direction. This lady's trying to do something good.
I'm looking out for the taxpayers' money. You're expecting us to vote on something that you just said it yourself. We got to vote on this tonight. It's got to happen. Well, if it's got to happen, it should have been planned a long time ago. All the other things for the 200 has been planned ahead of time. This should have been planned ahead of time.
But Alderman Schneider, and I'm sitting here and I guess I can say it from here, in the years that we've worked together, I'd have to say no matter what I do, I would never give you the right amount of time. So I'd have to say that, you know, it'd never be enough time. So that's just my feeling, my statement. Okay.
That's good. Does anyone from the administration like to talk?
Yeah, it'll make a difference. I mean, they won't like that.
Debbie Belleville would like to say something.
Is there any more questions for me? I'll go back and resume the chair.
No, but that was great. Thank you.
I'm another member from the Belleville 200 Committee. We meet every week, at least once, twice, 3 times. And I gotta say, this was talked about for a long time, but we didn't have anybody to take it and run with it. Carol was we were very blessed when she came to us. She came to one of our meetings and she had it extremely organized, extremely laid out. We probably talked to her and drilled her and talked about security, how we're gonna build them. This probably for a good hour, an hour and a half. And we felt very comfortable with the answers she was giving. We needed somebody besides our core group. We all are very, very busy people and have jobs besides all this 200 activity. And we blessed it. We had talked about having something after our big, huge weekend celebration, but we didn't have anything. We talked about it, and then she came. We looked at her and said, can you run with this? We'll support you with a few extra people. We cannot put another thing on our plate. She already said, I've talked to people all across the country that they are willing to come to us. She has spoken if it would be approved. She told these vendors it has to pass the channels. She came to us, then she said, I'm gonna go talk to the Belleville Main Street merchants. Obviously, not everybody attends those. And she tried to explain what kind of public that we are trying to draw to have this unique Christmas market. And so yes, the Belleville 200 committee, she did come. She came a couple times, and we knew time was very critical because these vendors do have to prepare. They have to organize and purchase theirs. They have to figure out their staffing. I mean, so it is a big deal, and it is July. And they're talking November 23rd, I believe is the date, to have it go. So the time is critical. And I mean, I apologize. It was a last minute thing, and it came across us last minute, which came to Belleville Main Street. So unfortunately, this was the first time we had a chance to bring it to the council.
Alderman Holt has your hand up.
Okay. First, let me say I'm a military wife. We were stationed in Germany. I am completely familiar with the Christkindl market. Love them. In Debbie's defense, she absolutely did have this on the list of possibilities when we first started talking about 200 things. I went to her and said, I love this. Are we going to get it done? And she said exactly what she said now. They are overwhelmed with doing what they have been doing. But here she had come forward an expert, somebody who has the experience, who clearly also has organizational experience. I don't think she has made commitments to these merchants, but she did do her homework and gathered the information and has presented it to the merchants. I will say I was surprised as an alderman that this was controversial. When I first got the email from one of the merchants, I called her on the phone right then. We had a long talk. She explained to me her concerns. So I did feel it was incumbent upon me to do my job and not give a personal opinion on this, but to go and poll the merchants on Main Street on my half of the north side of Main Street. So I did. I took my little notebook. I've been out there several times and talked to, I did not make it to West Main. I was only on East Main. I got 6 yeses, 1 no, 4 don't cares. In addition, I had talked to 3 of the business owners on the south side of the street. And I thought I was going to come in here tonight and vote with a clear conscience and some enthusiasm to go forward with this project. But the letter that Alderman White has presented included some people that I had talked to that I thought were at best neutral or slightly enthusiastic about this, and now their names are appearing on the whoa, let's talk about it some more list. So I am frustrated. I understand completely your point, Mayor, that time is important, but we also clearly have a communication problem. So I think that's the first thing that needs to be fixed. Are you positive 2 weeks is going to make a big deal?
According to Carol, and I'm just repeating, and her friends here tonight who's here on her behalf.
Okay. And I have emailed with her several times, not about timing, but just, hey, are you going to have this? Are you going to have this? My dog ate my this. Are there going to be somebody at this market I can get this from?
As somebody said, they have to order merchandise yesterday, these vendors, if they're going to include Belleville.
Honestly, over the years, I have considered catching a hop and filling a suitcase and doing it myself. It's a wonderful,
It's a wonderful experience. My daughter's been there, as you have been. I can't tell you how many military people have called me since the article in the paper.
And this will be a positive thing, but there are some legitimate questions. I'm
And
appreciative
we will work
of-
through that, but I
okay.
think we don't always get positive editorials from our newspaper about some things that are a little bit more risky. Even the newspaper came out and stood behind this. I think it is, I don't deny, and I am apologizing that the timing wasn't a little bit more time to present this. But Carol's mother died earlier in the year, and until that happened, she couldn't make the commitment.
I understand.
She came forward to me shortly after that, which was probably, I don't know, maybe March, and we started having our first conversations April, and then
Well,
she.
I will
so-
tell you, I was
But it took her a while to do
honestly
some
a little
research.
disappointed. I was hoping there would be more booths
Well,
the first year.
but you can understand, you can't get people to commit if we don't have a firm, and we hadn't even presented it to everybody to get it on board.
And I don't know how to explain this to you.
But I am-
Kathy Wolfhard is the most giant Disney World of Christmas stores. For
And
them
she's
to
willing to
even
come consider next year.
thinking about us for next year is a huge coup. It's amazing that they would even consider that.
Well, and she's had that conversation. However, I will tell you this, and folks, if it doesn't go, I just ask you to be visionaries here tonight and consider this. I am truly afraid, and I'm not spouting fear, but I am truly afraid if we don't do it this year, I think our opportunity is past.
Okay, I do
Because
still have
she's
some
talked
questions,
she's
though.
talked to people, and
And,
now's
and
the
I'm
time.
not sure if you can answer them, if Debbie can answer them, if other members of the committee can answer them. I appreciate that Home Depot has offered lumber, but the amount that they quoted versus the price of building the booths was only going to cover
Well,
half to
I will
a
be
quarter
honest
of
with you,
it.
we didn't go any further until we got this approval tonight. There's no sense in the group that is willing to go out and see if we can match what Home Depot pledged, and there's a lot more people who have said, if you get this off the ground, we will donate, or we will sponsor a building.
Okay.
I did have the Carpenters Union representatives in my office, and they have committed to me that they will build the buildings.
Okay.
Free
The
of, no labor.
electricity is another legitimate
Well,
question.
and Tom
though.
Poor sat at the meetings with me as the fire chief, and our inspectors are gonna have to sit down and look at how we're gonna do these things so that we meet safety codes. We do anything to not be safe. But these are things that we believe we can work out in a positive way, and that we can take responsibility for and not be short-sighted. Far as
Okay,
other.
so can we set a date to include all merchants, whether they belong to any organization
I have no
or not?
problem sitting with any of them. Like I said, I was aware of emails going back and forth, but I didn't have any request to sit down and have, like I said, I sat there for an hour and 20 minutes at Main Street that night and listened as long as they wanted to talk, and there was 24 people there, but a lot of people choose not to come into Main Street, and that is a vehicle that the city spends money and invest in as a vehicle of communication.
Okay, dealing with the if it doesn't work this year issue, how do we measure that?
Well, I think we sit down with all the merchants and we make sure, I don't know for sure, but I think if you're gonna get the general, if you're gonna know real quick, if we don't get the unbelievably recognized new group of people that visit our shops and visit our downtown, we're gonna have to say this was not. If the businesses come back and say that they feel like they lost business, and our sales tax is one way, if sales tax is down this Christmas, we're going to know it. It's kind of risky to one degree, but sales tax, the economy, we've risked things and we've taken chances all along here. And we've done a lot of marketing over the years for the businesses, the small businesses downtown that have not been able to afford a lot of marketing on their own. We've done radio, we've done a lot of different things, and quite honestly, before this administration, that wasn't done. We didn't have a marketing committee. We didn't work together with all the people to try to promote Belleville as a whole, and particularly downtown, because it is unique, it is special, it is made up of small businesses. And ladies and gentlemen, for those who don't know, my wife and I have a small business. So my wife was at the Main Street meeting, and she spoke up, and she sells probably as much as anybody else who might be close into competing with those products as a florist. And she stood up, and without me coaching her, or, because I don't, if you know my wife, I don't twist her arm. She speaks her own mind. And she thinks it's a great idea. And so, like I said, I also have a strong feeling for small business because I am one. So I'm not wanting to do.
So can we commit to offering City Hall to hold a meeting with all of the merchants? Debbie,
I invite them to these meetings all the time.
I know.
And I think, but only thing I'm saying tonight, if we don't pull the trigger, I believe Carol is not going to be able to make this happen. And if that's your choice, if the majority of the group here tonight say no, then, you know, you can always could've, would've, should've. But I just think we have an opportunity here, and I think if you look at what we've done to this downtown, and you look at the positive things that we've done to increase people and to make our downtown stand out today like it hasn't stood out since I was a small child when we had every shop in Southern Illinois come here. We've got more things going for us now than we have had in a long time, since 1972 when the mall was built. And I think we have a chance to take more customers from other places and bring them downtown, and particularly our military, but we won't know unless we take a gamble. Alderman Schmidt.
Well, I'm concerned about the businesses, but until this evening, only 2 people had contacted me, 1 for and 1 against, as far as merchants. I've talked to a number of people from around the St. Louis area. Would they come to Belleville? Do they think this is cool? And they're like, wow, yes, they would. And these are people that are not shopping here, so I think we would bring in a bunch of people, not just military, although that would be nice. And I agree that, you know, we have to make a decision so that they can continue planning this. And I think it would be a good thing. We need people that have the vision to bring good things to Belleville, and we need to support them.
Alderman Davidson.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. If we don't like downtown, I mean, has other sites been suggested besides downtown?
No.
I mean, could we put it on Lindenwood's property? I mean, we're
No.
on the West End.
I mean,
We're on the West End.
I understand that. I understand it.
Downtown don't want it, maybe we could put it someplace.
Well, I think here's the thing. This year we have sold it, pitched it. She has pitched it to these vendors, and a lot of them are aware of our downtown. With our art show, we have in the last number of years, we have gained a reputation in St. Louis Magazine and other venues as having a very unique, progressive downtown. And I think we have turned that corner, and this is where they're recommending it. I certainly had those same questions go through my mind, but I think if it doesn't go down there, the committee is not, they're not willing right now at this late date to switch venues. We believe we have with Santa, here's the thing, you got Santa's Hut, you got the trolley, you got the gingerbread already in place. You add this Christmas market, and you have a synergy and you have a destination. When I talk to the people at the Shrine, and they've come downtown many years, but it's kind of, don't get me wrong, but when we talked about the German Christmas market, they said to Kathleen and I, they believe that they can get the buses, the tour buses from the Shrine to come down here for that again. And so I think that you add all those things together and you have a unique atmosphere that we've created. We pay, the optimists afford Santa, but the city pitches in a lot. We pay for the trolley, most of it. Well, Main Street and the Chamber and the city pay for the trolley. The city always picks up the most heftiest share. We pay for, like you said, we do have extra police throughout the whole city for the holidays. We do a lot to do our fair share. The whole gingerbread program is run by the Parks Department, which is a phenomenal event each year. So, I mean, we're trying to support our local merchants. I'm really not going to get back to the audience right now because I'm trying to leave this to the Alderman. Alderman Rudowitz?
Mayor, I think we've discussed this enough. I think we ought to put this on.
Okay. So first of all, you got to understand. I'm sorry. Yes, Alderman Randall.
Yeah, it seems to me that much of the issues that we have tonight are around logistics.
Mm-hmm.
And just from a historical perspective, it took 2 years and 7 months for 12 countries to come together and pull off the liberation of Europe. I don't think that this is insurmountable for us to do.
So, okay, so now, first of all, we have a motion to table or postpone. And I vote for Alderman Hayden's motion. You made the motion, correct?
I did not make
No, I'm
the
sorry.
motion.
Who made the motion? Alderman White. An aye vote for this motion, the first motion that's going to be voted on, will be to table it. And all I can do then is ask Mrs. Pointowski, you know, I can't swear, but I'm telling you what she told me before she left town a couple days ago. And no vote will be, you know, that we make a decision tonight. So I will ask for a roll call.
Heisler.
No.
Holt.
We had a second. Okay.
Schmidt.
No.
Ridgewitz.
No.
Randall.
No.
Anthony.
No.
Davidson.
No.
Silsby.
No.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
No.
White.
Aye.
Musgrove.
No.
Orlett. Schneider.
Aye.
Okay, the noes have it. I got 11 to 3.
You got it.
Okay. Now we'll vote on the original motion to move this forward, and I will tell you, if it passes, I pledge that I will work with everyone, and we will do our very best. I meet with the 200th committee tomorrow, and we'll move forward, taking these concerns, and do our best to not only host a meeting, but I'll be honest, this whole thing is still prefaced on Carol being able, as of tomorrow, emailing these places and locking them in, that we can get enough. Alderman Hayden.
Your Honor, I appreciate your statement, and I'm going to take you for your word and hold you to your word that you're going to meet with these businesses, try to work out these differences and concerns that have been raised. And I hope that you can forward us the plan map that you got as soon as possible,
tomorrow.
in PDF, so we can see this. Because again, I support this in the concept. I think it's great. I just don't want to see us going into something when I think we have the opportunity to get as many people involved and on board as possible instead of divided. And that was the concerns that I think Mr. White and myself were presenting tonight.
And I appreciate the concerns. I truly do. So let's vote, and then I'll give you a wrap-up statement as to how we're going to move forward if it proceeds. The yes vote on this original motion will be to approve the location and the hours and giving the 200th committee permission to move forward. You know, it's not 100% guarantee it's going to get off the spot, but we have to have this to try to get everything now aligned in a timely fashion. So this yes vote will now give them the authority to move forward and give this 100% effort. And with that, I pledge that the 200th committee and my office will work with everyone and have more communications, yet there's still a lot of things to be decided. Roll call.
Heisler.
Yes. Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz.
Aye.
Randall.
Aye.
Anthony.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Silsby.
Aye.
Hayden.
Aye.
Seibert.
Aye.
White.
No.
Musgrove.
Aye.
Orlett. Schneider.
No.
Okay, the ayes have it. It's 13 to 2. I appreciate the very caring, sincere concerns. I do pledge that we will make this a positive experience, everything in our ability. And I really think that we can do that, and I will meet with the 200th committee tomorrow. I will call Carol. We will text her yet tonight. She's got to get busy and see if the vendors are still, if we can lock them in. But this deadline was important. I really and truthfully, we were originally trying to shoot for the June last meeting, and we couldn't just pull it together. And that would have been more helpful with the vendors. So with that now, we move on, and I do thank you for all of your concerns. We have our, you want to go on and figure?
Yes, C, request from Belleville Surgical Center and Physicians Surgical Center for a letter of support for their CON application for change of ownership.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion by Alderman Hayden, a second by Alderman Schmidt. Let me just explain real quickly. There's 2 surgery centers. They're changing ownerships. It's just kind of like the hospital. Anything to do with medical has to have a certificate of need approval. They're staying in Belleville at the 2 locations. One's downtown, one's at 6400. I've met with these folks, Garrett and I have. It's a good thing, but they need a letter of support from this council that we embrace their keeping it here and getting a certificate of need for the new ownership. So that's what this is about. We have a motion, we have a second. If there's no further questions, roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion carries. Last communication.
D, street banner permit request from St. Clair County Fair Association to display their banner at the North Illinois Street entrance of the city for the St. Clair County Fair, August 6th through the 10th, 2014, and to be held at Belle Claire Fairgrounds.
Motion approved.
Motion by Alderman Hayden, second by Alderman Seibert. All in favor of this motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Petitions, we have none. Resolutions, I'd ask for a motion to read by title only. Resolution 3195. Motion by Alderman Silsby, second was Alderman Schmidt. Any discussion on reading that by title only? All in favor of the motion to read by title only signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Resolution number 3195, a resolution authorizing easement agreements.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion carries. Ordinances, I'd ask for a motion to read by title only. Ordinances number 7787, 7788, 7789, 7790, 7791, 7792, 7793, 7794, 7795, and 7796.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, hold on. Let's get we need an amendment on that. Motion by Alderman Silsby, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Schmidt, yes, sir.
Can we add the ordinance on that residence?
We'll have to come back and add that to the agenda. We will do so at the next meeting, but because that was a split decision, as we have done in policy in the past, when they've come with no decision and we weren't sure, Mr. Horner didn't have it prepared, and we have the stipulation to add in there also. So he needs to put that in there. So that'll be here at the next meeting. Okay? We have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussion? Is there any objections to reading these and voting on these as a group?
I'm not going to pull out these ordinance 7793, 7794, because I'm going to take the alderman from Ward 4 at their word that if the gentleman has problems there, they will talk to him and resolve it.
We will hold his feet to the fire.
And I think the one thing about it, Alderman Hayden, you made a comment, and I agree with you. This guy's been in business a long time. He's been in Belleville a long time. I don't think he's going to tell these gentlemen something and not stick to it. I would have to believe that that's going to be true. So we'll go ahead and read them by title only, and then we'll vote on them as a group.
A, ordinance number 7787, ordinance amending chapter 60. B, ordinance number 7788, a zoning ordinance regarding case 37, Scott Muir. C, ordinance number 7789, a zoning ordinance regarding case 38, Empire Comfort Systems. D, ordinance number 7790, a zoning ordinance regarding case 39, Empire Comfort Systems. E, ordinance number 7791, a zoning ordinance regarding case 40, Karen D. Tinsley. F, ordinance number 7792, a zoning ordinance regarding case 42, SSC Verizon. G, ordinance number 7793, a zoning ordinance regarding case 44, Barney Johnson. H, ordinance number 7794, a zoning ordinance regarding case 45, Barney Johnson. Ordinance number 7795, a zoning ordinance regarding case 46, Bank of Belleville. And ordinance number 7796, a zoning ordinance regarding case 47, City of Belleville.
Motion to approve ordinances 7787 through 7796.
Second.
Motion by Alderman Silsby, second by Alderman Schmidt, to approve the ordinances that were just read and stated. Any additions, corrections, questions? Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Rudgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion's carried. Unfinished business. Alderman Hayden asked for the topic of TIF 10.
Before we do that, can I make a motion? We have a short recess, Your Honor.
I will give you 5 minutes.
Thank you.
We got to go quickly. I understand the need sometimes, but we got to get back here so we can finish up this meeting. 10 after. Actually, I'm being gracious. It's 8 minutes. Only because there might be a rush in the bathroom. Oh, God. Tell me he wants to go home. Convene the meeting.
Thanks, bye-bye.
Oh, good, they're all back. We found them. Okay, we're back in regular session, And I think, Alderman Hayden, you proposed this question about TIF 10. We kind of already heard some of your questions, I believe, right?
Correct.
If it's okay, I asked this evening, and I don't know if you even know him, but Scott Socklaben, who's one of the developers from TIF 10, is here. And maybe for the sake of streamlining some of the questions, I think Mr. Socklaben, if he would come forward and tell us what he can about some of the uniquenesses of TIF 10, he might answer the homeowners a little bit and what's going on. And maybe we can start from there and then build in our questions, okay?
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Scott?
Thank you. So I don't know what I'm walking into here, but what I thought I would do is I just took a couple notes from your comments and then a question you had. I want to just give you a little bit of background. I was solicited to develop Reunion when another developer wasn't able to make it happen about 15 years ago. And just an overview, I don't know if any of you were here then, but the long and short of that deal was the city wanted housing when it was all going north in Swansea and O'Fallon and so on. And the structure of the deal was that I would build lots and sell them at less than what it cost me to build the lots. And in return, I would be reimbursed for that shortfall with the tax payments that were generated from the houses that would be built. I don't build houses. So I was at risk as to whether or not builders would show up and build houses on the lots that I had built, and I was going to sell them at a discount. So we all know what happened to the economy later in around 2005 and up through about 9 or 10. There were two builders in that project. There was the Jones Company, which subsequently became Centex, which now is Pulte. And they did what they were supposed to do. They built all their houses and they sold them, and those houses are there and they're generating tax dollars. The second builder was a builder called American Heritage, which went bankrupt. And those are the lots that you referenced, among others, that didn't get built. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a history as to how this project ensued, for a little bit of background. There is no one in this room more motivated than me to get these TIF notes paid off. And there's no one more motivated to get payments, if they make sense, semi-annually rather than annually. I've explored it with the city several times over the last half a dozen years, because it just goes right through my fingers to my bank. So if I don't get the money soon enough, my bank doesn't get the money soon enough, so it's just costing me interest dollars. But as I understand it, the way the mechanics work with the assessor is the taxes come in, the city gets their distribution, when they get their money, they pay on the TIF note. I just send it to the bank, and that happens once a year. If it could happen twice a year and there was any money, that would be great. But as I understand it, as soon as all the money comes in, it's washed through and it gets paid on April 1st. But I know you made a question about that, so I just want to respond, at least from my understanding, that's how the...
And Mr. Socklaben, or Scott, and I don't know all the particulars, but that was set up that way, and we're still investigating with our previous finance director, the previous economic development director, and the previous mayor. So we just have followed suit the same way.
Exactly.
Now, we're still, Mr. Horner's still exploring about some of those questions. We haven't been ignoring them, but it's been that way since the beginning. The only other thing I want to inject here before Scott continues is one other part that, and I was on the council, and he's 100% right. Mayor Kern at that time was very much interested in getting new housing started because we had very few new housing starts in the city in the late 90s. One of the other key factors in this, though, was at that time, School Superintendent Jim Rosberg came to us, and I was one of the us he came to because I chaired the Economic Development Committee. And he and I and Mayor Kern met, but he had the vision, as you know, of building two new schools. First West Haven, and then Central Junior High School. And those two new schools have been very good for the city. So he knew with the houses being built, he wanted those schools in the worst way. Central Junior High, he spoke of to us for many years, was a very dangerous situation being built right on the road. It had many issues in that building, and he really wanted, and they had no grass area, no fields. They had only an asphalt small playground for the kids, and he was very adamant that he really envisioned this new school. And then at that time, West Haven was very much needed for the growth of the district. The other thing that Scott wasn't a part of, there was one other part to this thing, and that was Mr. Schleter. And he was the one that took the annexation out all the way to Schleter Germain Road and talked about a golf course and talked about a whole new, really, in his opinion, a whole new area of Belleville. But at different points of our conversation with Mr. Schleter, I thought he was really close, but his development never, ever came into being for a lot of different reasons. You might also remember that the Gateway Connector was very alive and well for a while, but when the economy and when the state started to falter, that went out the door. So Scott has been a part of Reunion, and I'll let him pick up his story from where that goes from here.
Yeah, I won't ramble a lot longer, but the other point I wanted to mention is that there were, I think, 391 lots, and I think there are 76 that aren't built out. Maybe it's 74. 74. And I actually reached out to the city a few months ago because it's in my best interest to get houses built on those lots. They generate tax dollars. Then that means the more money comes in, which means the amount of money that I get, I can send to my bank and try to get out from underneath the notes that I have. So again, I'm motivated to do that. The bank that owns those lots is Great Southern. There's a woman there named Carol Hansen. I've been talking to her on and off for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And I'm trying to create a marriage between Hansen's bank and a builder to get someone to step up and build houses down there. Part of the problem is the way the lots are designed, according to some of the builders, but we're trying to get something to go. So when you asked, I thought I should answer that question. I'm not the guy that goes vertical, but I'm trying my best to make something like that happen. And I don't know if there are a lot of questions on this. I just want to say that I'm more than happy to try to help clarify people if I have to meet with the city staff or anyone to try to help work any details of the history of this.
The other couple questions I heard raised tonight, a couple years ago, I think when American Heritage faltered, we had some real issues about cutting the grass then. We were not only sending letters, we were out cutting it. Well, no, we're not cutting it now. No, the bank now is getting it cut. We've stepped out of that for some time, right, Roger? And it's been much better. I took a drive out there the other day, and Roger was out there, I think, even as much as today. And I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's much better than what it was. Would you agree?
It is. It's probably cut once a month during the cutting season, which is fine.
Well, and we're watching it when it gets much over the 10-inch, 9-10 inch. But it's kind of straggly, you know, it's not real thick, but we are on them, but we're not cutting it anymore. We were for a while, and we lien that property, right, Roger? So we have a lien on that. As that all gets cleaned up, we'll eventually, hopefully, the taxpayers will get their money back with the, as far as the mowing and that kind of thing. Tim and I were also out there, and Alderman Hayden during the budget asked for us to go from $150,000 in the infrastructure to $300,000. Council, we did that. We have a few minor things. There's a storm sewer right there on West Haven Drive that's buckled up. That will be fixed this summer. As you know, we redid the front part of West Haven Drive a couple years ago, and I won't lie to you, the construction trucks and that, when they built the majority of the homes that are in there, beat that up, as well as the construction from the school, et cetera. And so we surfaced that, and that's much better. We worked on the lights with the intersection and some of those things. There's a small patch down closer to Central that we're going to try to use in the asphalt patch program this year and get that one small area by the stop sign there. It's kind of ripply. That is on our radar screen to get done. If there's other things as far as maintenance, you need to talk to your alderman, my office, or Tim Gregowitz's office, our city engineer. We will listen. We will appropriate what we can. Some money's appropriated. We just got to find what needs to be done. So I wanted to tell you those things about maintenance. I try to.
They've all been very responsive.
And I appreciate that, and we all should be. But I'll let Mr. Sockleben see if he has any other comments in regard to the questions.
No, that's all. I just want to give everybody a little bit of an overview.
Yes, Your Honor. Scott, I want to thank you for being here tonight, too. Yeah, there's two things right now at this juncture, Your Honor, that I'd like to do. I would like to set up a meeting in the very near future with myself, you, maybe whichever staff need to be here. The discrepancies that have been going on, a missing page, not a missing page, we need to sit down all in the same room. We got to come to a conclusion of what is missing, what's not missing, what has been paid.
And
So
we've looked for the one
Yeah,
page in question,
Yeah,
right,
I'm not-
Emily?
Yeah, I don't know what's missing, but I'll try to dig it out. Is
We've-
it part of the redevelopment agreement or a note or what?
Garrett's might have an answer there.
When this issue arose in April, Alderman Hayden, you asked me to look into this, I think both at the meeting and with a follow-up email, and I did so. I spoke with Scott. I spoke at length with the finance director. We reviewed some documents that were provided, and I think I told you that it was something we were looking into, and then we discussed it. It's reflected in the May meeting minutes, and then it was on June 16th. I sent an email to you because I responded in writing to you because
Correct.
the question came from you.
Correct.
And so at that point, I thought that there had been a sufficient response. I wasn't aware that there was additional information that was desired. I'd be happy to meet with whomever to discuss it, but I want to, contrary to the suggestion during public participation, certainly this information was reviewed by and came from the finance director. There was a suggestion that I didn't speak about it with the finance director. That's primarily who I spoke with about it. That's who confirmed the accuracy of my written response to you, and I trust the information that she provided. Now, they couldn't confirm that there was a missing page. If that's something suggests otherwise, then we can discuss that. But I would also say that there is nothing that contradict what the auditors, the annual audit suggests, and that's that the payments are accounted for. That's what I'm being told based upon what the annual auditor confirmed. So I just wanted to put that out there, I think just to clarify some comments that were made earlier. But I think this is not something that I nor any part of the administration has delayed or ignored by any stretch. You and I have communicated quite a bit on the topic.
I've never said, all I'm saying is I think that my review of it is I think that it's clear and evident that there is a missing page. I'm confused because the finance director has indicated in past FOIAs that the page is missing, and now there's communication to you that there is no missing page. So we got to be consistent on what the reality is.
We took your original comments that were raised as a missing page, and we looked hard. Thus far, we have not located, and we've even dug back to some other employees. Now, here's what I will propose. Alderman Hayden, I will certainly facilitate a meeting for you and Alderman Silsby as well, the other Alderman in Ward 5, Garrett and I and Scott. The only thing, keep in mind, be a little bit patient. Jamie went out on maternity leave, and while she's in a few weeks going to be accessible by phone conference, but I'm certainly not going to bother her until she has this baby the next day or two, and until she's not an angry mother at me. I have to live, like any good husband, I have to live with her here at work when she gets back. So I would ask that we get a little bit of reasonable time, but she did tell me before she comes back, she will meet with us on certain issues and come in an hour or two here and there to work with us. So I will facilitate that as soon as I hear that she's on the mend of this delivery and that we can facilitate that. So I would think that's fair, but I think she has to be present because she has been involved with every audit every year that she's been here and took the ball from Nancy, who was here from the time that this project began. Mm-hmm. So I think that we need to have those present to try to get to the final resolutions.
I appreciate that, Your Honor. More than willing to work with that. I was initially looking at the second meeting in August, but perhaps the second meeting in September would be more.
I think by then she should be back at least enough we could meet.
Be more doable, and I would like to request also that these issues be placed on the, and I think Alderman Silsby will concur, that we'd like to see these things placed on the Economic Development Annexation Committee as well as the Finance Committee's agenda, so we can also start looking into some of the things that Scott has talked about and what this organization, the homeowners association, the president of the management company and that, they want to know what assistance can the city do as far as helping promote this TIF, and I feel as their alderman, we need to respond to that and send it to those two committees to
We want to
get-
strengthen this subdivision, and ma'am, to you, I would ask Emily before they leave tonight, if you would get these two young ladies, I guess you're both together, some contact information. We will be in touch with you, and we will include you as well.
Yeah,
Because you do represent the homeowners association, and that's very good. Alderman Holt?
I had a question. It was mentioned that there might be some issues with the way it's platted. Would it be helpful to replat that?
I don't know yet. I think that's a little bit premature.
That's, yeah.
I think
A little
that
early,
Scott's
but-
in the process of trying to find a builder. If it comes to the
Right.
point where he hits dead ends on that, I think then he'll have to sit down with our department that deals with the platting and zoning, and we'll have to take that and look at those lots. But once again, understand, if he can get somebody to come in there as it is, it's gonna be much more economic for him. If he has to recombine lots, he's taking even a larger, I'm not speaking for him, but it's
Right.
even gonna be more difficult, and the financial mechanics of this probably gets more and more difficult.
So, yes, Your Honor, and if we can get those on those two committees and just start discussion, you know, of what we
I
can
would-
do to jumpstart
I would ask
this.
that I would ask that we put them on the committee the 1st of September. That way, we have the next couple of weeks to try to meet
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
a small
that's- yeah,
group
absolutely.
ahead of time, do a little bit more research, and then go to committee with possibly some suggestions in September.
And
by then,
Alderman Silsby
hopefully-
and I will be invited to all
and-
those committee
yes,
meetings
and in the
as well.
meantime, I'll
And with
facilitate
the
a meeting in a
residents.
few weeks after we get Jamie a little bit on her, at least feet where she can talk on the phone, and we'll get maybe Scott and we'll have a conversation, okay?
Sure. The last thing I want to mention is where I am in that process is I think that I have a builder who is interested. Now it's just, I feel like a matchmaker. Now I'm just trying to get the bank who's foreclosing the lots to agree to a low enough price so the builder will buy the lots. So I've been working this for, like I said, 3-4 weeks. And
Well,
maybe I can get him.
you and I have
We've been
talked. I
talking
mean, this
for a
is-
while.
He's been,
Yeah.
come to see me several times, so I apologize, maybe everybody didn't know, but you know, sometimes it's hard to have a meeting to tell people the what-ifs when he's not really been sure if these things
Yeah,
were
I don't
gonna
know yet,
connect.
so.
So but we are hopeful, and I think this is gonna be helpful to all of you. I hope you leave here tonight a little bit more enlightened than when you showed up. Hopefully. I see a smile, that's good. Any other questions on this topic? Scott, I appreciate you
Scott, I
coming.
appreciate you being here.
We'll
Your
be,
Alderman?
we'll be in touch.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, I got a letter that I did send to them that I want to enter into the record to support the minutes. And again, I appreciate your time. The ladies coming here, Scott and Alderman Silsby, and I look forward to meeting with the various
We'll
different groups. to see
facilitate
if we can
something soon, but I'd like to give
facilitate
Jamie a little bit, because I think we're gonna need Jamie, even for the first meeting, at least to be on the phone with us to make heads or tails on some of this,
this.
okay?
And we both appreciate again, the city staff has been very responsive to concerns out there. The Streets and Grades Committee, under Chairman Cyber, has been very responsive to the needs, and the 300,000 we got in there with just that one storm sewer issue probably is gonna take
Hopefully
up
we
some
can
of
do
that
that
money.
much cheaper, so.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Scott, thanks for
Thank you.
enduring the meeting. I don't.
This is easier than the German Christmas topic.
Thanks, Scott.
Yes, it is. Who would have thought that?
I'll be approaching you about sponsoring a chalet. Okay.
I can't disagree with them.
So, the next comment, I'll let Alderman, last thing you want to be is an alderman, right? I'll let our city attorney, Garrett, bring you an update on the issue, and it has been a long process, but he'll go through it, and I think we have this resolved.
Tim's most recent revised design has been agreed upon, and I spoke with him today, and he's working towards scheduling the fixed on that sidewalk, and after it's completed, then he'll receive the final payment from IDOT on the project.
And when is this expected to start?
I sent the work order in today. They have 2-3 weeks to get it in the schedule. We'll get it done.
Who's gonna do it?
It'll be done. Hanks is doing it, who has the sidewalk patch program. who was the contractor we had hired on the original project, okay?
How much is the cost?
Right around 3,000? And there's some, there were some extenuating circumstances there. And I think right now we got this worked out. They've had IDOT review it, they've had private engineers review it. It went back and forth, as you know, for a long time.
There's a lot of extenuating circumstances, there's a lot of things, Your Honor, that we could argue and debate that were done wrong, right, or indifferent. My goal is to get it fixed and make sure that it's followed by ADA law.
It'll be done accordingly in the next few weeks, but certainly it's gonna be all done before this next festival downtown. It should be done sometime by hopefully early August. So.
But then the superintendent that did the original work, he's on vacation, so I would suspect within 2 weeks, we'll get started on that.
If it's not, I'm gonna ask to be on the next meeting in
If they haven't started
September.
or contacted us that they are ready to start, we'll have it back on the agenda.
First meeting in September if it's not
That's
done.
fine. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
We still on unfinished business?
Yeah?
Okay. We talked about having a meeting about the comprehensive plan where we could all get on the same page.
Yeah, well, I mean, that'll be, at the regular planning commission meetings. We did cancel the one in July because we didn't have much other business. So
Okay.
we wanted to make sure we got the final plan copy in.
Okay.
They're scheduled to deliver that, soon, so I should have that and the final executive summary. So we'll talk about it in August or September, as soon as we have the final documents, we'll get that to everyone.
Would you make an extra effort to invite all the aldermen, even though?
And you'll get a copy of the final documents, and you're invited to everybody's welcome. But this one here will have some purpose to review that, and they'll have the final documents in place.
Okay, I also wanted to talk to you about selling the assets that we are holding on to. For example, I believe the police department has 5 Harleys sitting in a garage someplace.
Well, I would, I think we need to bring it up at Police and Fire Committee because they had, first of all, I think the chief, that's a good question for Police and Fire, but I think the chief needs to bring forward to us when he feels it's time that he'd like to. Every so often at my staff meetings, I tell my department heads that if they have items and they hear me say vehicles that are inoperable, et cetera, I have been very pushy to get them things scrapped or get them sold, or, and we have usually an auction usually once a year, sometimes every 18 months or so, of surplus city equipment, at least.
Well, I don't think these are inoperable, I think they're just not usable.
Some are inoperable, I think, right, Chief? I don't mean to put you in a spot. Some of them are actually inoperable. And so I think I would suggest, if you want that on the agenda for Police and Fire, Chairman is right here. And I think he's duly noted, and you tell the chief we'd like to add that to the agenda. Okay. If you're finished, I'll go to. Yes, ma'am.
I was driving down 161 past Kelso's. Is it a housing car that we have sitting there that's wrecked? It has.
At Kelso's? Oh, yeah, we had one, it was an accident, yes.
What happened?
You know, Roger?
Yeah, Kevin was stopped at intersection of Lincoln, and the other guy, didn't stop and hit him, but then when the police got there, this guy told the officer that he stopped too, and they both approached the intersection at the same time. So, they couldn't determine who was at fault.
So no tickets were issued, but our car is fixable?
Yes.
And it's at Kelso?
No, we can see it sitting right on 161.
Okay. I mean, they called me the day of the accident, but I didn't follow up on the update. It was relatively minor. Yes, sir?
Thanks, Your Honor. Question for the city attorney. This goes back to the June 16, 2014 city council meeting where I asked for clarification of the liquor code, chapter 21, section 1, 21-1-4, line items N and O, has to do with officials.
Pull it up again. I'm sorry, Alderman Reed, 21 dash.
Yeah, the minutes say section 121-1-4, line items N and O. We entertained a change to another part of the liquor code.
We talked about the
Oh,
residency.
about the reference to public official?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was something that, I believe after the meeting, we talked about taking it to the
Ordinance Committee,
and Legal
yes.
Committee, but that meeting
Got
for
canceled.
this month was
Yeah,
canceled.
we had, that was the only topic, and we had kind of, quite honestly,
But we wanted to, what our intention is, based upon your comments, which is well taken, we wanted the public official definition to be consistent with the definition that's elsewhere in the code, so we know
Right.
what is encompassed by public official. It could be beyond an elected official.
And will that, will we then be bringing that part of the code up to date? Because I believe when the code was written, there are probably city officials, as we define them now, that were not part of the code as written previously.
it could have been, and that's something that. with
Well, I know the
recodification-
definition for an officer has expanded, certainly, yeah.
But and also, as you know, we're getting ready to come back at the next meeting or so and bring the codification, some of the recommendations. I believe came in, today was the deadline?
Today
So
was the
that,
deadline for the proposals.
We will be reviewing them and bringing that to ordinance committee.
Thank you.
And so that's another way that stuff's gonna be caught and moved forward. Anything else? If nothing else on their old visions, I ask for a motion to approve the motor fuel claims in the amount of $6,425.09.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Seibert, second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion on the motor fuel claims. Roll call.
Heisler.
Aye.
Holt. Schmidt.
Aye.
Ridgewitz. Randall. Anthony. Davidson. Silsby. Hayden. Seibert. White. Musgrove. Orlett. Schneider.
Motion carries. I'd like to ask for a motion to go into executive session for the purpose to discuss personnel litigation and, well, state
So
property
moved, Your
acquisition.
Honor.
Motion by Alderman
Second, Your Honor.
Schmidt, second by Alderman Heisler. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, there's no plans for any action when we come back in, and shouldn't even take. Ready, Rich? Okay, we are now back in regular session, and being there's no further business this evening, I'd ask for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Alderman Schmidt, second. Second by Alderman Hayden. Discussion on adjournment. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.